You are into the second and third set on a wakeboard now, and you're crossing the wakes like a champion. It's time to mix it up a little bit with some new skills. So at this stage, once you've been crossing the wakes a little bit, your confidence is up and you're ready to try something new, there's a couple of different things you can attempt. We're going to go with some surf carving. We're going to take those connected turns that you've already been doing in between the wakes and plonk them outside the wake. If you're left foot forward, it's going to be over to the left. If you're right foot forward, it's going to be over to the right. And it's what's called a frontside surf carve. So if you imagine a surfer on a wave going up and down with their face at the wave, that's what we're going to try and replicate. The way to make it work at first is go nice and easy. Keep two hands on and do exactly what you did between the wakes. You're going to start at the bottom of the wake, gently sit into your heel side edge to go out. Once you're about 6-7 feet out wide, just stand up. Let the boat drift you back without you having to do a thing. Once you get to the bottom of the wake, that's when you start to sit back down into your heels, and the board will go up the wake a little bit and then come back out on that heel side edge. Now you're getting your surf on, moving out and in just outside of that wake. All you want to do is push it a little bit harder. The best way to play around with this particular skill is give it a go. Just start going a little bit harder out and in, seeing how close you can get to the top of the wake before actually crossing the wake, seeing how big you can kick the spray up. The technique for this is literally rolling from edge to edge, edge to edge. To start with nice and slow, so you go edge, flatboard, edge, and eventually you're going to be sweeping really aggressive back and forth from that toe side and heel side edge. The one common mistake though is that people move the handle a little bit too much and the board starts to actually turn, slip out, as opposed to just rolling from edge to edge. So, to combat that, make sure you keep the handle right in front of you. Make sure you don't move it around to try and steer your way through those turns. And make sure you're keeping your hips moving from heel side edge to toe side edge. Heel side edge to toe side edge. If you turn those hips and move the handle, the board could skip out at the wake. Now you're really ripping. To go a little bit harder, to make it feel that bit more like surfing, you are gonna let go with one hand for half of this whole movement. So you cut out with two hands for the heel side edge. It's really hard to cut strong on your heels with one hand. Once you get out and start to make the turn, you're gonna let go with that back hand and you're coming in just like a surfer. All the way into the top of the wake, make that big old slash at the top, and as you start to go back on your heels, hand goes back on. Once you've got your surf carving down and really confident, out on the left-hand side if you're left foot forward or the right-hand side if you're right foot forward, you can now take it to the opposite wake and surf what's called backside with your backside to the wake. Now this is exactly the same principle, but as you're cutting out on your toe side edge, it's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more tricky to implement. To start with, go gentle. Two hands on all the time, hips pushing out to get yourself wide, hips just rocking back a little bit over your heels to come back in. Then start your turn back out before you get to the wake. That way, the board will sweep underneath you, go up the wake a little bit, and then as you squeeze your hips, it will come back out and drive you off in your toe side edge direction. As you get more confident, as you've already done with your surf carving on the other side, you're going to start to do it one-handed. So you can cut out with two hands or one, but cut out. Then you'll do your heel side turn with two hands, and then as you come in, you're going to do the turn at the wake over from your heels to your toes with one hand. So that's true surfing. And just sweep that board left and right. Get crazy with it. Throw the board around. Really push what you can do to get a feel for what's possible, to get a feel for that technique. The really, really important thing is that you're rolling from edge to edge and not trying to turn the board. And when you get back to the wake, to bring the board back out underneath you and pointing the way you're going, you're going to use your hips, not your shoulders. If you lead from the head, you'll leave the board behind you. If you lead from the board up, you'll always be in control. The board will always be going where you need it to go.